Hi, today we're going to do something on rhetoric. So I've got a list of rhetorical devices. Just a quick introduction to what these rhetorical devices are. And I'll do more in-depth things on each one later. First one is allusion, which basically is a brief reference to an individual, place, event, or passage in a work of literature or the Bible. Not that I believe in religion, never have done. Assumed to be sufficiently well known to be recognised by the reader. So we get that a lot. We get all these brief references to certain individuals and certain places and events or passages from works of literature and stuff like that everybody seems to know. Yeah, and they're always put out there like Eratosthenes, 2 sticks in the ground or stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's a reference to an individual, a place, an event. Do you know what I mean? That everyone knows. That's a form of rhetoric. Yeah, allusion. Anecdote. A short, entertaining account of some happening, frequently personal or biographical. So we get a few anecdotes as well being thrown around here and there. Aphorism. I think that says aphorism. It's a concise statement of principle or a precept given in concise words. Appeal to authority. It's another technique of rhetoric. Citation of information from people recognised for their special knowledge of a subject for the purpose of strengthening a speaker's or writer's argument. Appeal to fear, an emotional appeal. Uses information likely to frighten the audience for the purpose of strengthening a speaker or writer's argument. Appeal to patriotism, an emotional appeal. Appeals to the audience's love of country, persuading them to act by implying they are treasonous if they choose not to, similar to appeal to pride. Appeal to pride, an emotional appeal. Used to convince the audience that they must act in order to maintain dignity and self-respect. See also appeal to patriotism. Anticipation of objection. A technique by which the writer or speaker... Excuse me one sec, I've got an itch. A technique by which the writer or speaker anticipates objections his audience may have to his argument and points out the error in their objections. See correction of erroneous views. Bandwagon. It's an attempt to strengthen an argument by convincing the audience that accepting the writer's or speaker's view will put them on the popular or apparently winning side. Conceit. An extended metaphor or analogy of two strikingly different things. Contrast. To compare as to point out striking differences. Correction of erroneous views. Pointing out where another's observations need modification or correction. Concession. An acknowledgement of objections to a proposal similar to anticipation of objection. Corrective measures. Proposing measures to eliminate undesirable conditions. Emotional words. Use of words likely to engage strong emotions in the audience. Extended metaphor. A protracted metaphor or conceit which makes a series of parallel comparisons. See conceit. Flattery. Using excessive, untrue or insincere praise in an attempt to ingratiate oneself with the audience and therefore make them more likely to accept your opinion. Holy war. An attempt to convince the audience that God is on the side of the speaker or writer and that failure to side with the speaker or writer's argument will be the equivalent of failure to defend God. Well, we get this a lot with these religious so-called flat earthers. I don't like using that term. It's a loaded term. It's not a good term. But we get a lot of this with these religious flat earthers when they attempt to convince people that they're doing this, they're on the side of God and all this sort of stuff. You know what I mean? Everything else. And if you don't side with them, then you're not defending God and all this sort of stuff and everything else. We get that quite a lot. That's another form of rhetoric. Hyperbole, an extravagant exaggeration of fact used whether for serious or comic effect. Imagery. Here we go with his imagery. See? It's lively descriptions which impress the images of things upon the mind. Yeah? Figures of speech. So, there you go, there's with your imagery. It's another form of rhetoric, imagery. Lively descriptions which impress the images of things upon the mind. Irony, a method of humorous or sarcastic expression in which the intended meaning of the word or words is the opposite of their usual meaning. See sarcasm. Last resort, a logical argument, often a fallacy. Yeah? See, this last resort stuff, I get this a lot with these trolls and stuff where they're like, they use a logical fallacy that attempts to convince the audience that they have no other choice but to accept the writer or speaker's views. Yeah. Logical reasoning. Arguing according to the principles of correct reasoning, showing what can be expected because of what has gone before. Metonymy. Using a part to name the whole, or using the name of one thing for that of another associated with it. Example, calling the king the throne, or the crown. Referring to the president as the White House. And stuff like that. Name calling. The use of disparaging or abusive names to attack those who oppose the speaker or writer. Which is an argumentum ad hominem, basically. But that's another rhetorical tactic, name calling. Parallelism. Using the same part of speech or syntactic structure in 1. Each element of a series, 2. Before and after coordinating conjunctions, and but, yet, or, for, nor, or 3. After each of a pair of correlative conjunctions, not only, but also, neither, nor, both, and, etc. Repetition, repeating words or phrases for emphasis when speaking or writing. Rhetorical question, to ask a question of an audience to engage them without having a response from the audience. Sarcasm, a taunting, sneering, cutting, or caustic remark. See irony. That's it for that one. It's just basically, I just thought I'd put a list of rhetorical devices. We're going to go through all these. I'm going to do some videos. I'll do a video on each one. I'll start off with allusion, then I'll do anecdote, aphorism, appeal to authority, appeal to fear, which are the logical fallacies anyway, but I'll redo them again. I'll go through them all one at a time. I'll do a video on each one. Each list of rhetorical devices. This is not all the rhetorical devices. This is only a handful, and I think there's a lot more, but I need to look into it more, see if I can find any more, any different ones. Thanks for watching. Thank you.